guys remember my automatic tumbler Tron 3000 from the Horror Fright. What you don't remember, and what I have recently combobulated together out of parts from China, is a aquarium filter. Well, you know, sort of. So, what am I doing here? All right. So, this stuff. The green Illuminati pyramid currency, it gets dirty, and so occasionally you got to change out the water, the simple green, whatever you're using as a cleaning agent in this guy, and that gets nasty. It gets to be labor, and it also cuts down on your productivity as you are working, and this stuff loads up with all the slime. It doesn't cut as fast, so well. Someone was kind enough to give us a drain plug for draining the thing. Always gets plugged up. I'll get to that in a minute. They were also kind enough to give us another plug up top. So down low, up high, too slow. So, well, clearly, I mean, somebody obviously intended this. I assume. I have no idea. But so we got an input and an output. What do you do with it? Well, we gotta get fresh liquid up here, up top, and we gotta get the dirty liquid out. Now, unfortunately, I mean, it doesn't drain too fast. These fittings are actually much smaller. You can see I've sleeved it with a piece of the original tubing over a much larger tube so they didn't get plugged up, and this is a bit stiffer than the silicone they used. Right there is an Allen wrench. This guy gets plugged up with media. The triangles get in there just the right size so that like one with a broken tip can slide into the hole and get jammed. You know, a full-size triangle won't go in and the little pieces will go all the way through. So I dropped an Allen wrench in the hole because I was using it repeatedly to ream it out clean. Usually I had to unhook this and jam it from the outside. I had the idea of just leaving it in the hole. Turns out that works great. So sacrificed an Allen wrench. Probably belongs to my Horror Freight lathe anyway, so who cares? It's not like that thing does anything useful. I only got about 6 sets of metric Allen wrenches, so I bet that's the only one that size. Anyway, so drain through a piece of tubing into some El Cheapo brand filter bags. They use these for aquariums or water filters and industrial gear. It's literally, it's a little big for the hole that I cut. Whoa, I'm going to make a mess here. It's literally a bag with a bunch of layers. So I got 5 micron. I heard high microns is good microns. What for getting all the slime out? Somebody said the shinier, yeah, somebody on the internet said, so I believed it. The cleaner the liquid, the shinier your parts. Well, 5 micron doesn't flow worth crap. As you can see, this trickle has overflowed not 1 but 2. So we got out the whatever size you had there drill bit and made a makeshift shower drain. So just use a hole saw and a Home Depot bucket for this guy. So I made a makeshift shower drain, and when it overflows it just goes straight through, and the big chunks get caught, but the fine crap goes right back into the liquid. So this is just 2 cut-off tubes and a T, and they're just stuck in the filter bags to keep it from spraying all over the place. Not like it really... If you filled the tank full to the top, I've tested this. This doesn't flow much fast, like just a little bit faster than this, maybe. Not a lot. It's not impressive. So, so that being said, what's going on over here? Well, you know, always when you have a bucket full of green slime, you want to see a power cord going into it that's plugged into the wall. Safety first. So. Down in the slime, there is, as I get my new phone all slimy and gross. It's a fountain pump, like a pond pump. I believe in Canada, you Soviet Canadians get the snowblowers up there. I think that's what they're called. But a pond pump for us that don't get water frozen right out of the ground. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of liquid coming out of this hose. That hose is flowing so much as this guy. So the pond pump is got a grating. It sucks it up, blows through this T. Now, I can't have this thing pumping more liquid up then will come back down or overflow up there. Now I don't think I have more liquid in this. Well, probably do, just a little bit more than will fit in the tank up top. So if something were to plug up here, I don't want it to overflow. Now I'm getting nervous. I got to think about this. But anyway, this T goes to a ball valve, which is about 50-50. Straight down would be all the way open. It's not quite 50-50. 90 degrees out to the side would be all the way closed. So most of the flow is going up through this T and right back into the tank. Why? Well, I don't want to burn up the pump. I want to give it a continuous flow. If I was controlling the flow with a one dead-end valve that was almost completely closed, I would be beating up my pump. I don't have to do it. It's supposedly this pump will survive it, but how long? It's a fountain pump. Maybe it can survive having some leaves stuck in the grill, but it's recirculating fine powdered metal grit and cleaning solution. So if it lives a year, it will be the best pump ever made. So corollary to that, we're letting it flow all the liquid it likes to flow, except for my El Cheapo tubing is kinking and cutting off the flow intermittently. So we're going to have to get the good stuff next time. Get the braided, made in Canada, made in the USA. So the other end of the T, with a mostly closed valve, I did this double valve for regulating so I get some pressure built up in the lines to help them not collapse. So there's a little bit of stiffness here, I should probably close this one more or close this one more to get more pressure to keep them from buckling. So this one restricts the flow going up. So that's how we get it down to, and you see it's kinking up here, but it's still going through just enough. We get a trickle. So we got a trickle coming up and a trickle coming down. That recirculating action means that we never have too much liquid up here to slow down our cutting, just up to, the level of this guy, which is actually still quite a bit when you see it on the inside. It's, it's liquid down in there. But it's enough to clean the media, while at the same time, hopefully most of the crud ends up down here. Now, at least it will have the dilution on our side. It will continually dilute the crud that builds up into the crud that's in the bucket. And most of it is actually kind of going through the filters. It's hard to tell. Very little is actually draining over the top of the filter. This is mostly from playing with the valves to get the flow right, and it overflowed temporarily. But yeah, recirculating pump. The pump was the most expensive piece. Everything else, $5 bucket and some parts and all the, I got a whole spool of this stuff for pretty cheap. So I could do it all again probably the second time and use half as many chopped up pieces of hose as the first time. There you have it. If anybody wants, I can always post the list of parts and the do's and do nots on the commentaries and tell you what to acquire. But my alternative, the closest thing I could find was probably around $200 pre-made. I think it had basically a similar bag filter arrangement. If I had bought the enclosures for this, I could have probably pushed pressurized through it and get some faster flow. Now that I'm thinking about it, if I was doing it again, for $10 housing, I could have just bought another filter or whatever they cost. These were like $10 filters or $10 for two or something. Just run all that and just let it drip through. If I get this trickle right, I won't have to worry about the overflow, so I can splash it right out and down the drilled shower drain. So yeah, 2 drill bits, plastic tubing cutter, 1/2-inch tubing, 1/2-inch nylon tees, sack full of them for 10 of those, a couple valves. I mean, significantly less than $200. The pump might have cost me $60, but it's an oil-filled submersible. It was like the absolute best rated on the Amazonia. In that category for the best longevity for a small pump like that. It's rated to run totally stopped, and people say, oh yeah, this lived in my pond for 5 years, it's great, buy another one. The El Cheapo brand lasts 6 months. So I'm hoping, again, that's not a pond, we're pumping cleaning chemicals and slurry through it. I'm hoping that the recirculating gives it a fighting chance at living 5 years. So there you go. Horror Fright tumbler with the recirculating action, the whole setup, the tumbler, this guy. I'm thinking it's probably 250 bucks. And that's American pesos, not the Canadian pesos, which, you know, are 1 to 1 depending on what time of the century it is. So, yeah, let me know if you guys want to make one. Got a stroke of inspiration right from the king of junk, your Uncle Bumble Fudge himself. Grab me some, I don't know if you can see this packing tape. It's got some fibrous material in it. This was really nasty, cheap packing tape. I wanted to get rid of it. So I used that where it was kinked on the hose and where it was kinked down here to straighten out, give me some strain relief. The old, strain relief there. No more kinks. Now the flow is much more controllable. You don't have to worry about turning the knob too far into the left and then suddenly you're at 11 and the hose buckles or inflates and the flow rate changes. So yeah, do things cheaper, not smarter. And coincidentally, a Bumblefudge is Willy Wonka's southern cousin, only a little more rapey. Later. Let this guy run overnight, and all through the next day we had some minor setbacks. One, the pump generates some heat, not a lot, but it definitely warms the liquid. Well, so does the tumbler. The tumbler also slightly warms the liquid. I can actually feel quite a bit of heat radiating from the base. I mean, it's, 30 centigrades or whatever unit you use. So what happened? My super cheap Chinese tubium, it gets so soft from the heat, it buckles all over the damn place. You can hear the pump take off when I straighten the kinks out of it. Well, unfortunately, with this short piece of tube here, I can't keep adding tape and hoping it won't kink, because the heat will just make it kink in different places. So I'm gonna go buy some braided tubing and maybe do a longer piece, add a service loop to loop around to make this connection without a kink here. Old engine nerds trick. So that's the thing. The other thing, this guy, well, it kind of works as long as you do this regularly. My Allen wrench down inside here, right angle piece is keeping it from falling through. This helps me clean the fine slurry that gets jammed up around it, but when it does jam up, all the liquid stops flowing. All the liquid down here, pump. Well, I got lucky. It comes right close to the top, but this rubber seal, the seal and the lid worked together, and it didn't overflow. Now, it was right full of liquid and just sloshing around. The media has not really got any energy when it's got to push all this water, and it's all the weight slowing the thing down. So it doesn't do any cutting action. So that's no good. So I'm looking into, I don't got one yet, but I'm going to test this theory out, a real suction strainer. What I'm going to do is get a tap, ream the threads out to a bigger size, put in a bigger fitting, this guy, eliminate the adapter kit with the sleeve here. My big fitting will protrude onto the inside of the bowl, and then I found a suction screen, a filtering screen with the same threads as this guy. Again, put a order in on the Amazonia. So I'll have a filter screen on the inside that will hopefully give me a lot of area inside the tank to keep water flowing, while at the same time it won't allow enough stuffs to clog it up. Now, I got the coarsest one I could find for the reasons of not getting plugged. It's small enough to keep the green things in. They're 5 millimeters, let's say. I don't know what 5 millimeters looks like. I'm going to say they're smaller than a 1/4 inch. So yeah, some service issues, some maintenance problems that you can avoid when you do yours. This is entirely stopped up and it's run for days, and that just makes it struggle all the more to do the other, and I think it's generating more heat because of it. However, it hasn't stopped it yet, so if you really wanted to do without a second valve and out the bypass situation, that'd probably be fine too. But yeah, something to consider. I didn't think about all the heat that this thing was going to put into the liquid between the vibration and pumping, so that definitely softens the tube. So get some real stiff, real, braided something tube. I like the clear, at least somewhere in the system it's flowing. And the easiest way to see that is here, because with this one going uphill, it just fills entirely up to the top. And even it's super soft now. It's had some distance to dissipate the heat. And this was really kinking when it got warm, so this kind of's got it straightened out. Okay, just a serviceability upgrade for you when you break your own. Later.